What is up, Home Slice? David Murphy here, back with another video. And it ain't a Christmas video. So a few years ago, I did a video where I read through the script for a weird Christmas play called Rock and Roll Santa. And after that, it got me thinking that there's a lot of weird plays out there. So I thought I'd explore some. Today, I will be reading through the script for the children's musical, Bugsy Malone, based on the 1976 film of the same name, starring Scott Baio, Jodie Foster, and Michael Jackson. Different Michael Jackson. Not to be confused with the 1991 gangster film Bugsy, starring Warren Beatty. Fun fact, when I was a kid, I once put on that movie thinking it was Bugsy Malone, and boy was I wrong. But anyways, Bugsy Malone was a musical film from 1976 that was made famous for being the first film with an all-children's cast. It became a cult classic and eventually got a stage musical adaptation, which I actually had the pleasure of performing in, with two separate theater companies. That was an interesting year. But yeah, the play and the movie, they're not too different. Like, obviously you gotta make adjustments when you adapt it for the stage, but they're more or less the same. Then why doesn't he just review the movie?
Shut up.
Anyways, curtain rises. We open on the mean streets of 1920s New York, where we meet the play's narrator, who introduces us to Roxy the Weasel, who's a gang member that works under the big-time mob boss, Fat Sam. So Roxy's just wandering the streets at night, exactly like this. And I'm not really sure why. Is he just on his way home? Maybe he went to take the dog for a walk and then remembered he didn't have a dog? I don't know, it's open for interpretation. But he's soon cornered by their rival gang, the gang of one Dandy Dan. We will be meeting Fat Sam and Dandy Dan soon, but until then, this is Dandy Dan's gang. We've got Bronx Charlie, Benny Lee, Laughing Boy, Yonkers, and Doodle. Your name Robinson?
Uh-huh.
Roxy Robinson?
Uh-huh.
Also known as Roxy the Weasel?
Uh-huh.
The same Roxy the Weasel who works for Fat Sam?
Uh-huh.
I'm kidding. Oh my god, can you imagine? They do shoot him, but I'm just gonna kind of explain how the world works here. So these guns that they're using are a brand new weapon called the Splurgers. And they are guns, but they shoot silly string. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And instead of like killing people, it actually just like, freezes them in place forever, which seems like a fate worse than death if you ask me. Now apparently, Dandy Dan actually manufactured these guns himself, and no other gang has them. So I know you're wondering, if no one else has these guns, then what have they been using as weapons? We will get to that. Next up, the narrator introduces us to Flash Frankie, who's basically your stereotypical scumbag lawyer. Who's great at his job, but not always in an ethical way. Which doesn't really matter because he immediately gets splurged. And so does his barber, who wasn't even doing anything, he was just cutting hair. The narrator mentions that the show has just started and we're already off to a rocky start. But he assures us that by the end, everything will turn out okay. So, spoiler alert. Oh, by the way, you're probably wondering who this narrator is. His name is Malone. Bugsy Malone.
He's a sinner, candy-coated. For all his friends, he always seems to be alone. But they love him, Bugsy Malone.
Yeah, so this is our hero, Bugsy Malone. And I'm not really sure if he's a gangster or what. When he's asked what he does for a living, he just says this and that. Like, it's not really clear what he does, but it's like implied that he's into sketchy things, but he's not part of the gangs, but he's also not on bad terms with Fat Sam, so I don't know. He's the hero, though. So Bugsy enters Pop Becker's bookstore, and this is where he meets Blousy Brown, and as you can tell by this interaction, she's gonna be his love interest.
Hey, how you doing?
I don't know if that was an intentional Friends reference, but I wouldn't put it past them.
You a dancer? A singer, right? Oh, a baseball player.
Zip the lip, Wisey. I'm in no mood for conversation. You don't like me? Listen, Wisey. I'm surprised you don't stoop with all that dandruff on your shoulders. And this is a common thing I see in stories. It's like the couple that doesn't hit it off well, constantly argues, yet somehow still falls in love, which I feel like wouldn't happen. Hey, you suck. No, you suck. You want to get married? Do you even have to ask? After some time, Pop Becker lets them into the hidden doorway, where they enter the hottest speakeasy in town, Fat Sam's Grand Slam.
Anybody who is, anybody will soon walk through that door. At Fat Sam's Grand Slam, speakeasy.
Yeah, good luck getting that song out of your head. Also, this song has kazoos in it. Just thought that was worth mentioning. So Bugsy and Blousy have another interaction with each other, and we learn that Blousy came to the club to audition to be one of the performers, but she was told, come back tomorrow. But this interaction is cut short when Dandy Dan's gang bursts in and shoots up the place. Now, they don't actually hit anyone, but it was more about sending a message than actually killing anyone, so they did their job.
The splurger, Doodle! Get the splurger! You can't leave the splurger!
The little bit at the end there doesn't seem important, but it is, I promise.
Okay, everybody, it's okay, nothing to worry about now, go back to your tables.
So this is Fat Sam, the mob boss and owner of Fat Sam's Grand Slam. And this is also where we meet his gang. We've got Lewis, Angelo, Ritzy, Snake Eyes, and Knuckles.
So tell me how you allow this to happen. Roxy was one of my best.
He was? This guy?
Uh-huh.
And here we learn that Fat Sam has a bit of a temper.
We all know who's monkeying us around, don't we?
Sure do, boss.
So who is it?
Dandy Dan, boss.
Don't you dare mention that name in this office.
Like, dude, you're the one who asked. So in the next scene, Bugsy bumps into Blousy as they're both heading out, and he offers to take her to a diner. Nothing really major happens here, but this is where we learn that Blousy is
New in town.
and came to New York to be a performer. But we also get a random Godfather reference.
I could have been a contender, Charlie.
Marlon Brando was born in 1924, so I'm not really sure how this is a reference they can make. Also, it's a reference to On the Waterfront, not The Godfather. Idiot. Oh, also the restaurant gets splurged. Why? I don't know. Never brought up again. Honestly, could have been cut. And then we move on to the next scene. The next scene takes place at Dandy Dan's mansion, where he's just chilling with his wife, Luella.
Been spending most their lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Oh, honey, don't switch that off. I was enjoying that.
I have to concentrate, princess. I have a little business to attend to.
And of course, he's just immediately rude to his wife. Like, dude, she was listening to that. TVs aren't a thing yet, so what the hell, man? Soon after, the butler lets in Dandy Dan's gang, and Dandy Dan gives them a big thank you for all the work they've done so far. And we get a song.
There's pie in the sky and it belongs to me. I'm the legal owner of the recipe. The upper crust looks up to me. Do you know what gang we're beginning to see? That's why they call him Dandy.
Yeah, so this is where we learn what the other type of weapon is in this universe. And, it's pie. Yeah, like pie. How is pie a weapon? Unless you're taking it out of the oven and it's still scalding hot, I don't know how that's gonna hurt someone. Is it poisonous? Is every pie in the world like this, or is it like a very specific recipe? Is it like that episode of SpongeBob where he ate a pie bomb? I need more information. Like, is there a baker out there with this deadly pie recipe? Answer me! So during the song, Dandy Dan is handing out flowers to everyone, except Doodle.
What about my flower, boss? I don't have a flower.
You goof, Doodle. You dropped the splurger. And I don't allow mistakes in this outfit.
See, told you it was gonna be important.
But boss, it just slipped out of my hands. Any guy can make a mistake.
Indeed. I'm nothing if not merciful. So you, Doodle, have the honor of securing your place in history by being the first to try out the new and improved Splurge Mark II.
So yeah, as a punishment for dropping the splurger, he straight up executes Doodle in cold blood, and it's honestly brutal. Like, I feel bad for the guy.
Stay where you are, Doodle. At close range, things can get very messy.
Oh, no, boss. Please, no.
Button your lip, Doodle. You're all washed up.
That is why they call me Dandy Dan. Dan.
So that was fun. Back at Sam's place, Fizzy here is finishing cleaning up while everyone's heading home, and he catches Fat Sam as he's getting ready to leave. As is Tallulah, who's like the headliner of the Grand Slam show, but I also think she's Fat Sam's wife? I don't know, it's never stated, but they are leaving together and calling each other honey, so at the very least she's his girlfriend.
Mr. Sam? About my audition. Later, Fizzy. I'm busy right now. Keep practicing. I'll see you tomorrow. I promise you, tomorrow.
But yesterday you said tomorrow, boss.
So yeah, Fizzy has always dreamed of being a dancer, and constantly asks Fat Sam if he can audition, but always gets told, come back tomorrow. So everyone leaves and we get a musical number from Fizzy.
Tomorrow,
tomorrow never comes, what kind of a fool do they take me for?
Like, I wouldn't say this is a bad song. It's not. It's nice, it's catchy, it's got a nice melody, but it adds absolutely nothing to the story. If Fizzy was one of the leads, I'd say go for it. This song would be perfect. But he had one scene before this, and I think one more scene after. Yet he gets the longest song in the show. And you think maybe it'll come up again, but it doesn't. There's absolutely no payoff to this subplot. If it could even be called a subplot. It's barely a sub, it's like a mini sandwich at a book club meeting plot. They make him out to seem so small and helpless, and just like, he never gets a chance to audition and prove himself. Even when Fat Sam is totally available, he just doesn't see him. So next up, we got Blousy at an audition, and Bugsy is with her, for some reason. And basically, the star of this show that she's auditioning for dropped out and they're looking for a replacement. And I don't know what the heck this show is. Like, they mentioned that the star was a singer, but there's such a wide variety of performers auditioning. We've got an opera singer, a magician, and a ventriloquist? What the hell is going on? But Blousy goes up to audition. But before she can even start her song, Lena Morelli, the original star of the show, returns.
And it confirms the worst. Somehow,
Lena Morelli.
in return.
And proceeds to sing the worst song in the show.
I'm in show business, I've traveled far.
The next scene opens up on Fat Sam's gang singing. No motivation for this sudden musical number, but I'm not complaining, because, oh my god, this song is so catchy and so fun, I haven't stopped singing it for years.
We could have been anything that we wanted to be, but don't it make your heart glad that we decided, a fact we take pride in, to become the best at being bad.
What the heck is going on here? Singing and dancing? What is this, a musical?
Is Fat Sam just completely unaware that he's in a musical? So Fat Sam explains to the gang why they're being beaten by Dandy Dan so easily. And he demonstrates this by throwing a pie at Lewis and missing. And he says that the only way that they're going to be able to strike back is if they get their hands on some splurgers. So Fat Sam and Knuckles exit, leaving the rest of the gang behind. Surprise! Dandy Dan's gang shows up and splurges them. And that's the end of them. And honestly, Sam takes the news of his gang being attacked pretty well. Like, a lot better than he should. He seems more worried that they're going to come after him next, and not, you know, traumatized because these are men he just spoke to not moments before their deaths. Soon after, Bugsy talks to Fat Sam about Blousy getting an audition. And Fat Sam agrees to see her because he doesn't want people to think that he's afraid, and like, he wants to carry on as normal, as he says. By hearing auditions, isn't his thing kind of just telling people to come back tomorrow? It's kind of more suspicious that he's doing this, right? So while Blousy's getting ready to audition, we get an interaction between Bugsy and Tallulah, where I think they imply that Bugsy and Tallulah, to put it in terms that this show would use, Bugsy splurged Tallulah in the pie.
You're aces. You know that, Bugsy? I've always found you kind of special.
Careful, Tallulah, you're racing my motor. And of course, Tallulah kisses Bugsy just as Blousy walks in. And this is something that always drives me crazy in movies and shows and whatnot. Why do people never blurt out what they want to say when the character's not listening to them?
Dad! It's important.
Then wait. Count to 20.
No, Dad, you listen.
Junior!
Dad, I found a lost artifact.
You don't understand. There's no time.
Lex Luthor kidnapped my mom and wants us to kill each other.
I am not a real shark slayer!
See, creepy Will Smith fish gets it. So Blousy hates Bugsy now, but carries on with her audition.
Only a fool.
Hold up, what about Fizzy? He doesn't get to audition. He should go before Blousy. I mean, he asked first. Like, he's gonna be pretty mad when he hears about this. And you guessed it, we have, like, not heard from Fizzy since his song. Disrespectful to my boy Fizz. Fizz, that's his new nickname, I decided. But anyways, Blousy gets the job, and she gets worked into Tallulah's number.
My name is Tallulah, my first rule of thumb. I don't say where I'm going or where I'm coming from. I try to leave a little reputation behind me. So if you really need to, you'll know how to find me.
This song doesn't add much, but you know, it's pretty good. It's fun, it's catchy, not too long, and I guess it would have been weird if the character who's a singer never got to sing. Like, that'd be like having a character who's a dancer and doesn't get to dance. Can you imagine? Now, there's this one point in the song where it sounds like they're about to sing Mr. Lonely, but then they trick us at the last possible second.
Lonely, you don't have to be lonely.
I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny. So due to the sudden death of Fat Sam's gang, Fat Sam actually has a talk with Bugsy, and he hires him to find him new gang members. Now Bugsy's hesitant, but the money he's offered is enough to buy him and Blousey 2 tickets to Hollywood, which is where she really wants to be. Now, since she was
new in town,
proves that she wasn't from New York. So, why did she move to New York if she wanted to be in Hollywood? Why didn't she move to Hollywood first? I don't know. Let's move on. So Bugsy decides to look for new gang members at the local soup kitchen.
Down, 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 down and out.
And they're pretty open to it. $2 a day plus food. $2 a day? That's your only demand? Like, that's pretty modest even back then. Also, there just happens to be a crate of splurgers ready to be loaded onto a truck right outside the soup kitchen. Bit of a weird coincidence, but saves a lot of time. So they take the boxes and run. Then we get a scene of Dandy Dan getting his gang ready to attack. Not much happens here, just your typical villain pep talk scene. But I thought I'd mention this bit. 3 cheers for Dandy Dan! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Yonkers, bud. That's such an awkward moment for you. Like, absolutely no one joined in. Like, this is the script line. It's like he started with the first hooray, and he kind of just had to continue even though no one joined in, because he would look just as stupid if he just stopped at 1 even though he said 3 cheers. I don't know, I just thought that was funny. So back at the Grand Slam, the new gang is all prepared for the final showdown, and Dandy Dan's gang busts into the club with their guns drawn. Now, in the movie, there's a huge pie fight here, and they just destroy the set. Obviously, because it's a stage adaptation, no one would want to clean that, so instead, Bugsy tries to talk everyone out of it. Wait, look, Mr. Dandy, Mr. Fat, we've made a big enough mess in this theater. You splurge him, he splurges you, where will it all end? Pretty soon only the audience will be left to splurge. So then everyone aims their guns at the audience, and Bugsy makes one last attempt at fixing everything.
We could have been anything that we wanted to be, and it's not too late to change. I'd be delighted to give it some thought. Maybe you'll agree that we really are 2, 3, 4.
And then everyone joins in.
We could have been anything that we wanted to be. Yes, that decision was ours.
So that worked. I guess all is forgiven. Lots of property damage, violence, murder. Even that feud between Blousey and Bugsy somehow gets resolved here. So, here you have it. The key to world peace. Anytime there's conflict anywhere, just sing a song about how if you give a little love, it all comes back to you.
You give a little love and it all comes back to you. Da, 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 da.
Like, can you imagine if any other conflict was solved this way?
But Caesar, we could have been anything that we wanted to be. You know, you make a good point. And it's not too late to change. You give a little love and it all comes back to you.
So that was Bugsy Malone. A very strange play indeed. But what are my thoughts on it? Honestly, it's good. Actually, no, it's great. Like, it's funny, it's charming, it's original, it's got a great soundtrack. It might be the best children's musical out there. Do not quote me on that. There's no way kids won't enjoy doing this. If there's any children's theater directors out there who are looking for their next show, give Bugsy Malone a try. You can't go wrong. Anyways, that's all from me. Be safe, be smart, have fun. Peace out, Home Slice.
I'm Mr. Lonely.